I want to talk to you today about honey. So before you dismiss this out of hand from the viewpoint of honey is sugar, I'm not eating sugar anymore, hold on. I have a lot of information that I want to share with you and 6 amazing reasons to add honey back in your diet. Now, I'm not talking about big volumes of honey. It's almost like you're taking honey as a supplement, interestingly enough. And honey has been utilized as an antibacterial, as an example for, oh gosh, probably 1,000 years, thousands of years. So it's been long known that honey had a lot of benefits, but we kind of lost sight of that as we went to eschewing sugar, right? Saying sugar is no good, and granted sucrose or pure sugar is all glucose. Honey is fructose and glucose, but then you hear fructose and you think of high fructose corn sweetener. And so for a variety of reasons, including myself, I weaned myself away from the honey that I really used to like in my tea and went to stevia, which I still think is a great idea. But I really want to review with you these 6 amazing benefits of honey that are truly functionally impactful in a way that you'd be surprised. So there's a lot of research on this. So just a quick scan of all the journals. There was Letters in Drug Design and Discovery, Journal of Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Frontiers in Nutrition, Journal of Medicinal Food, Food Research, Journal from the American College of Nutrition, Biochemical Research International, just to name a few of the groups that cited research in benefit of honey. So it's not like a one-off study is what I'm trying to share with you. Okay, so the first one has to do with actually decreasing the size and number of fat cells. So this is very interesting. Obviously we know that decreasing fat size, right, the size of your fat cell would be good, but there's really not been a lot of evidence that one could decrease the number. But research definitely showed this. And I do want to say that for my audience, if you want me to go into the minutia of these studies, I'd be delighted to, because that's what I just did. But I'm going to do more of an overview so you can hear all the benefits. And then if you want more, let me know. It decreases inflammation. Now, inflammation is truly the root cause of all the diseases you're trying to avoid. From cancer to diabetes, to obesity, to dementia, to autoimmune disease, there's really no argument that at its root is inflammation. So honey decreases what's called inflammatory cytokines, which are just chemicals that generate inflammation. It decreases them, which is very amazing. So you think about honey as a carb. And one of the problems, of course, is we have a lot of obesity. We have a lot of dangerous visceral fat. So viscera are your organs. So fat around your organs, like fatty liver, but it's not just around your liver. So the belly fat that you see in individuals, this is visceral fat, and that's the dangerous fat. So what honey does is it actually, well, let me go back one more step. So when you're under stress, you make the chemical cortisol. And cortisol causes you to increase your deposition of fat around your organs. That's why when you're under a lot of stress, what happens? You reach for everything that you shouldn't eat, right? It's like, I'm under a lot of stress and I want the ice cream and I want the candy and I want all the stuff that you've been maybe really trying not to eat, suddenly you're eating. And this is why. So what happens with honey, they did these studies, and these were in rats. So there was rats and human studies both. But in the rats, they just stressed them out from an exercise viewpoint. They made them exercise a lot more than they typically would. And what they found was when they gave them the honey, their cortisol levels decreased. They didn't respond to the stress the way they normally would, and then their visceral fat went down. And they also found it was protective against fatty liver. So pretty amazing. In addition to that, decreasing weight. So there were there are, I mean, the bottom line with honey, I'm just going to cut to the chase here, but there's more to say. But it decreases, before I get to that, honey has a lot of antioxidants, and it has certain compounds called flavonoids. So that's the mystery ingredient, if you will, in honey that gets us to these places that I'm talking about, where you're actually decreasing fat size and you're decreasing weight and you're decreasing visceral fat. All of these things really has to do with these beautiful compounds and only found in certain honeys. So hang in there, I'm going to get into that. So with the decreased weight, it also stabilized your blood sugar. So they found that, again, even though honey is a carbohydrate, it didn't spike up the blood sugar and then crash the blood sugar, because it has compounds. So there's a hormone called PYY in your gut, and it dictates basically how fast you get hungry and how well you use your glucose, basically. So it keeps things very stable. Also, what honey did was it decreased ghrelin. So ghrelin is a hormone. We always think of it as grr, being hungry. And so if you're decreasing ghrelin, you're not getting hungry as fast. And then also decreasing the PYY, so you're not, again, not getting hungry as fast, and your blood sugar is nice and stable. So when your blood sugar is stable, you're more insulin sensitive, and you respond to carbohydrates in a very good way, which is a nice slow burn. The other thing they found is that because of this slow burn and not, the big jump of blood sugar that you would see with sucrose, is that these important compounds get lower down into your colon and act as like a prebiotic, feeding all the good bacteria. So it's really stabilizing your gut microbiome. It's an incredible amount of data here on honey. Decreased your appetite, and I just mentioned why that was. So it's all these benefits from the antioxidants and the flavonoids. So that, in a nutshell, is all about honey. So now dosage, and I want you to really think about the quality. It's all about quality. So if you just go to the grocery store and you get the honey, it's very refined, probably half sucrose because they watered it down, you're not going to get any of these benefits. This is sort of, think about it medicinally. So the two best honeys are buckwheat and manuka. Now, I tried the buckwheat first because my local little health food store had it. And buckwheat, this is just me, palates are very different, but the buckwheat had this like you're on the farm taste to me. It wasn't horrible, but I didn't love it. It certainly wasn't that yummy thing I was looking forward to. Now, manuka is delicious. They're both very expensive, so you really want to purchase this with the mindset like I'm purchasing a supplement, okay? Now, quantity before timing. Quantity, studies have varied from 1 tablespoon up to 2 to 4 tablespoons. So you might want to play with it, especially if you're somebody who's inflamed and you feel like you have a lot of joint pain. You can play with it from the viewpoint of what dose decreased my inflammation. So that would be a good marker for you personally. Also, if you're somebody who gets hungry quickly and you're sort of battling that, you can see if you're sustained longer after dosing the honey. So it's the buckwheat or the manuka. My vote is the manuka. See what you like. And then it's anywhere from 1 to 2 to 4 tablespoons. One study came out and said a teaspoon, which would be very cost effective, I can tell you, because manuka honey is about, depending on the size of the jar, it's expensive. So what else did I want to tell you? Oh, one other thing. So if you're somebody who's trying to be in ketosis and you're doing basically no carbs, which there's arguments about that not being the best idea, but if you're really, really keeping your carbs low and you seem to do well on that, then dose your honey right before you exercise, like literally right before. And then it'll get into your system right away and not affect you as impactfully as if you were doing it and then sitting for 4 hours, as an example, even though it goes into your system slowly. So that was some research I saw. Okay, so we've talked about honey, 6 amazing ways that it can improve your health. We've talked about the dose, we've talked about the type. Please let me know how you feel and what you notice. I've been working with this for a couple of months, and my blood sugar is pretty stable, so I haven't seen too much with that. I have lost a little bit of weight, and there's a few pounds I wanted to lose, so that was good. And it's delicious, so there's that. It's quite a little treat to have. So yeah, let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and we'll talk soon.